Hello there everyone. Today we're going to model a bedroom. I have a floor plan for this bedroom here. We're going to model the walls, doors, windows, and floor, ceiling, all these things. And then we're going to move on to the furniture. We're going to do the cabinets. And here we have a door cabinets. And then we're going to do this 2-level bed. Lastly, we're gonna add some lights, and hopefully we're gonna reach the environment as well, or modify the environment. This might be a long video, so I might split it into multiple sections. So this is the floor plan that I have. I just make sure that I have it saved somewhere. I'm gonna go to 3ds Max. First thing you need to do is to match your unit to whatever you're working on in AutoCAD. So what I'm working on in AutoCAD is centimeter. So I'm gonna go to customize unit setup, make sure that my display unit is centimeter, and then my setup unit is centimeter as well. Okay, so now we're ready to import or link the AutoCAD file. I'm gonna go here and say plan. This is the plan that I saved, and click open, attach. Alright, so this is my floor plan in 3ds Max coming from AutoCAD. First thing that I need to do is trace these walls from the lines that I have. I'm gonna go to create and then geometry, and here you need to select AEC extended, and then I'm gonna select walls. The width of my walls here is 15 centimeter and the height is 300. So I'm gonna keep it as that, and I'm then gonna start tracing my walls. You need to make sure that you have the snap toggle on, and specifically the vertex, and I would only put it for vertex and not the other ones, so just so we limit the confusion. So I'm gonna start my walls here, and I'm gonna click on every corner that I have. There, and I would say yes, weld point, or I would close the walls, and then right click on your mouse to exit the command of creating walls. I'm gonna click on zoom extend here so I can see my view. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I'm gonna start creating my floor. So to create the floors, I'm going to use a line actually, and so again keeping my snap to the vertex, I'm gonna create this spline here, and then I am going to extrude the spline that I just created. Now to extrude it, we'll go to the modify tab here and click on extrude. And then you can create the amount. You'll notice that, alright, so it drew it as a ceiling, which is fine because we'll need kind of copy for both ceiling and floor plan here. So that works out okay for me. I'm gonna say 15 centimeter extrusion. Okay, I don't need any segments there. I need to cap it in both ways. Okay, so I'm actually gonna convert this to poly to create the detail on the ceiling, and also I'm gonna copy it over. Gonna go down here. Notice when you have the snap toggle still on, I can't select which direction that I want to move this to or copy this to. So to disable that, you can click on it, or if you're still using it, you can keep using it. You can keep it on. So I'm gonna keep clicking on the Shift key and drag this over to the bottom and say copy only. Okay. All right. So this here should not be minus 22. This should be actually on the 0 level right there. But I notice when I make it on the 0 level, it's taking part of my walls, which I don't want to do that. The thickness of my floor is 15, so I'm gonna actually move it down to minus 15. Okay. All right. So now I have kind of a basic floor and a basic ceiling. I might move on and create the doors. So I'm gonna go here from create geometry and then doors, and then I'm going to again keeping my snap to only pivot, specify the width of the door going from this point to that point, and then the depth of the door right here, and then the height. So I don't have a snapping point for the height, but I can specify it later. So you see how when we create a wall, or if we created the door successfully, the door will be actually implemented or built into the wall, and so the wall will be cut automatically. From my modifying tab, I'm going to modify the height here and say 220, and then also I'm going to modify the width of the frame. I have them here at 2 centimeters, but in my plan they're actually 5. Okay, just making sure in the plan it looks accurate. For the door panel, you can create a specific design in there and increasing the panels there. Okay, so now I'm gonna this actually looks more like a cabinet, so I'm gonna make it only 2 by 2. In here I have a window, so it's the same thing applies for a window. I'm gonna go and say window, and in here we'll go for, let's say, a fixed window. Alright, and then I'm gonna pick from here to there, and then specify the width and then the height of the window. So for my window here, it should be actually 2 meters, 150 in height, and then obviously my window is not going to be starting from the floor, so I'm going to move it here by 70 centimeters. Nice, so it's lined up with the door here. So for the window, we want to add some panels in it. So same idea as the wall, as the door. They don't really show very well. So if you want to see more of the edges, you can go here and say edge faces. So you can see the edges that you're working on. And let's say here 4. Okay. Then For the frame, same thing. I'm gonna use 5 centimeter for my frame on horizontal and 5 centimeter my frame for the vertical. Okay. So I have another window here. Sorry. I'm gonna go to geometry, window again, fixed. Again, specifying the length of my window and the height. Let me see, I didn't really get this one right here. Didn't snap to the right lines, so it's okay. We're just gonna undo, actually, not delete. Fix, and then create the lines again. So it would help me if I see the lines of my window. You can, one way to do it, I can just right click on the floor that we created and say hide selection. So now I can see the point of my window. I'm gonna say fixed. Here, this is the width of the window, and that's the depth. And then we can specify the height. Alright, see, again, when it's not cut like this, you know that we may have snapped to the wrong line, or that something went wrong that didn't cut into it. So just to save you the time from trying to do it manually, or creating the cut manually, again, I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to give it another try. Okay, so my window from here to there, and that's the depth. There we go. So now it was cut, and the reason I know it's cut, I can see the depth of the window, and the color or the material of my walls stops at the edges or at the frame of the window. Again, the height of my window here will be 150, and then so I'm gonna raise it up by 70 here. I'm gonna increase the horizontal panels to, or the panels on the horizontal direction, into 4 panels. Okay. All right, so now we can move on and modify the floors and the ceiling. So let's start with the ceiling, actually, since we have it open here. So my ceiling, as you can see, this line here, the floor plan, this yellow line is my ceiling line. It's been offset by 1/2 meter or 50 centimeters. So in my editable poly, I'm gonna select polygon, and then click on the surface inside. From here, we'll go to inset, and then I'm gonna create an inset here for 50 centimeters. So it's kind of like an offset around my ceiling. Notice that my ceiling starts actually from the edges of my room. So I need to count for this 15 centimeter actually. So this will be 65 centimeters to match the width or the line of my ceiling line here. So it will be 15 centimeter plus 50 centimeter inset, so that's 65 centimeters. Okay. So now that this is done, we're gonna say okay. see how that looks. All right. So there is actually a weird line here, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna extrude my my ceiling, and I'm gonna extrude it actually in the negative direction. So I don't want it to extrude downward. I want it to extrude onward. Okay, or sorry, in the negative way. So I'm gonna extrude it. Sorry, I'm gonna extrude it here to be in the negative. So my extrusion will be just a tiny bit. So we're gonna be -8. Okay, so we kind of created this inset, or this different levels in the ceiling. Right, so if you're creating actually cove lighting here, I'm gonna grab these polygons, because for cove lighting I need more I need a little bit more space. So I'm gonna extrude this again, but lower it down here, so you can see I have 2 levels. And so let's say I'm gonna lower it down by 10 centimeter. So I'm gonna say 10, and yes. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this edge that we have inside here. Right, I'm gonna try to actually ring it or loop it. It's not really gonna be even turned on for me, which is okay. Notice that I'm looking at this upside down now, and the reason, if you get confused by which direction, you can look at the cube, and you see here it says bottom. So I'm looking at the room from the bottom to see the ceiling. Okay, and then I'm gonna extrude this part again, but extrude it on the negative. Okay, and I'm gonna say local. You can actually look at it in the floor plan, and you can see the edges expanding into the inside of my walls. Sorry, the inside of this soffit that we created, or this double level floor. Okay, this is actually too deep. I'll just make it -5 centimeter. Okay, perfect. So the only thing we need to do is we need to add some lighting in there, which will come up in the next section, or the almost the final section actually. All right, so now we're gonna flip and look at the floor. Since we've hidden the floor, I'm gonna say unhide all to show the floor, and I'm gonna actually exit from the poly here, right click and say hide my ceiling to look at the floor. So in the floor here, I only have, it's completely flat except for these 2 steps. So I have 2 steps in my floor. Okay, again, we actually already made this into a poly, and I am going to need a line here to differentiate the different levels. So I'm gonna create a line. I'm gonna go to edges, and then I am going to say quick slice. So for the quick slice, okay, I'm gonna snap to this first step, click on it, and click there. So what that did actually, sorry, let's exit the quick slice. So now we have a split. We have split the polygon of my floor plan into two, or the polygon of my floor actually into two, and then I'm gonna extrude that again. A step is usually 15 centimeter. If 15 centimeter is well, let's make it 10 actually, since this is not 100, 10, since this is just a bedroom, so we don't need it to be, for a step we don't need it to be actually that high. Okay, next we're gonna create the second step. I'm going to quick slice again, and so since I don't have any points here, I don't need to turn on the snap toggle, and so I'm gonna just create it above this line of the second step. Okay, so the trick is just to move it a little bit so it will be completely vertical. Okay, so this is the line here that we have for the second step. We're gonna now click it here, click it right there, and then you will have, sorry, or we will have the split it, the polygon. Another way to actually do it, to create this snap, if you can't make it straight, you can say edge, and then we're gonna click on the or we're gonna select these edges here. Okay, I'm gonna select this. Let me go here so you can see. I'm gonna select this edge and that edge. Okay, just the side two edges, the top edges for my higher step now, or higher level. And then I'm gonna go and say connect right there. This will give me a line, right, which is what I need. And then in here you can actually specify where you want the line to be. I'm just gonna make it, or have it overlap with this line that I have, and then say okay. Okay, so now I have this, and I can extrude it. To 0.10 again, and there we go. So now I have 1 and then 2 step here. Okay, so if I turn on, or say unhide all, now I have created the floor, and then the ceiling, doors, and windows of my project here. Okay, you can see the overlap outside, but since we're only gonna render inside, this doesn't really matter if the floor plan or floor object here is overlapping outside from the plan. There's obviously a way to fix this, but we're not really gonna modify it here, since it's not really gonna affect our model inside. All right, next, or in the next plan, or sorry, in the next video, we're gonna see how we will model this cabinet and this this bed to there.